I hope you had a great day. I'm Jackie, your tech expert, and today I'm going to carry on from our previous topic regarding about the Cocoa Pods. So from Cocoa Pods, we have successfully done so. We have also learned how to install our pod files and initiate various pods. But ever since 2022 and 21, SwiftUI has created some easier platforms for us. So it's much more easier to add in stuff like from Firebase. So I specifically did this video regarding about Firebase. So I hope you guys watch it and love it. So, okay. Welcome back again. I am here now showing you this platform, which is the Firebase. And do take note that you need to follow the steps one by one, even with the configuration and so forth, based on the Firebase itself. Okay, now first off, you do need to have an Xcode project, Xcode developer tool, which you should have, Mac OS system, or if you are using Windows, you can use a cloud system as well. Now, as you guys can see, I've already signed in under my console, so all I have to do is now to create a Firebase project. So let's try it out. I'm going to create a Firebase project. Go in. Project. I'm going to call it test Cocoa Pod 1. And then I'll have to check A/B testing has to be allowed. Cat crash free users. Trigger free. Free unlimited reporting. So do take note, you only have 500 distinct event types. So if you are building a big app, you might need to sign up for their support as well. Now for me, I would enable Google Analytics, because if you don't, you see, you don't get all these benefits, okay, which you need in the later part where you want to analyze all your information. So I highly suggest that you click this, go into continue, select and choose an account that you should have already signed up. Now create the project. Now this will take a while. Meanwhile, do take note, if you are using Firebase, it is applicable in various countries, but not for countries that do not have access to Google platforms. So if, let's say, for example, if you're in China, you might have a problem getting your Firebase working, okay? So you might need to choose an option, maybe a local provider like Alibaba, or we could also use other settings as well. Now after that, now it's completed. Awesome. Let's click continue. Now with this being done, you can see now you're on a Spark plan. You can choose your different plans if, let's say, you want to do as per accordingly. Now it enables your extension with the Google Cloud, but this one with the paid one, you can do so, and you can pay as per go. At the same time, Blaze is way better in a sense. You will understand at a future point. Now you can choose Apple. Down here you can do the configuration steps. The Android platform is the same as well. And then you have the web OS, okay, where you can do a web app, okay. Now you can additional stuff are Unity and Flutter, which in the past, in 2021, they did not have. Now they do have it. You can also authenticate and also provide cloud file storage, okay, which is applicable for users. If you want to do user logins, you want to do user database monitoring, you have these two, okay. You also have the crash ticks, which you should be able to see whether, for example, whether you have any crash problems, you know, or if, let's say, your app is working properly, you know, so and so forth. Okay, now going back, you can also see your app performance, which they would show you the speed, analytics as well. Okay, you can do so once you're in. Okay, and then finally, this is something that is very new, and I like that. Now this is the extension deployment kit, which they have the export collections to BigQuery. You can also sync with MailChimp, so those with doing marketing for mail, you can use that. Resize your images and also shorten your URLs. These two are applicable for your apps as well, so they would do up a quick one. Translate your text, that is very useful. That means to say they sync with Google Translate. Distributed counter would be also useful as well, as you guys can see. I'm going to show you the exact details about this. So you can see down here you have the various stuff for the extensions, okay, and you need to install, and then you can also explore other extensions. You can search Firestore, you can trigger email for Firestore, you can also have other extensions which you can build in. Okay, they do have machine learning, if I'm not mistaken, for the apps analytics. You can also do your project overview down here. Now for us, we need to create the Apple OS. So we've been talking about this. Okay, now let's first now go back and create a new project, and we click app. Now let's create the app which we're going to call test CocoaPods 1. Oh, sorry, 1, not 2, but 1. Make sure to select SwiftUI, Swift, and I click next. I'm going to put it in my desktop, and you can see it's done. Pretty simple as that. No combs on that one. And you can see this is the default app. I can change this directly right now, maybe with the hello thing, but that's not necessary right now because our main idea is to do up the project. So I'm gonna switch it back here. Now we need the bundle ID, so we need to go back here, go to test CocoaPods. We need to look for the bundle identifier. Now it's a NAH. Okay, let's do that. NAH dash ray dot test CocoaPods 1, and then coming back again. Let's give it a nickname. It's going to be called test CocoaPods 1. App ID optional. Now if you have a URL for your app, that means it has been launched. You can use this, but if you don't, just leave it blank. It's fine, it's optional. Okay, and then register app, and it should be doing its thing. Let's give it a minute or so. Okay, it's done. Now, what you need to do next is you need to download the Google Service Info plist. Now, plist is the list within the system, property list, also known as in long-term form. So you have to click this. You need to download this, which will take a while. Now I'm going to add it into the desktop again, so it's easier to drag and drop. Now once this is done, this has to go below the info plist, so to take note about the Xcode project. So once it's in, click, drag and drop under the desktop, and you click finish. Then you can see your info plist down here. Can you see down here? So the property list itself would be able to call for the API, and it will also be able to call the sender ID and the rest of the various details, which you don't have to do so manually, comparing wise to a few years back. Okay, I remember there was once I had to do this with a hiccup. It took me hours to solve it. So putting the set story aside, let's go back here. Now once it's done, you need to click next. Now unlike the past, you need to create the pod files and do the initiation codes. Now all you have to do is just use the Swift package manager and install it and manage the dependencies. So first off, you can enter the iOS SDK. So all you have to do is just copy. Now you can also go directly inside to take a look at what the SDK is. It's an open source via GitHub, and you can see down here you have many various details. Standard pod install, Swift package manager, and it also shows you the pods that have been initiated, as well as the iOS frames that you would be able to see. Now with that being said, let's go back. Now instead of hanky-panky around, let's go to file, and we're going to have to add packages down here. Now once we're in here, you can see there are various packages that are standard, recent packages and so forth, Now what we're looking for is we need to search for a direct package. So we have to copy and paste that. Now you can see the Firebase iOS SDK is out. Now once this is in, okay, you can see all the details down here. You can also choose the version number, okay. So the dependencies version next to the major or recent version. If let's say you are building for a lower OS version, to take note about this one, you can also downgrade your Firebase version to a lower version, say maybe 9.0, for example. Okay, we're going to stick with 10.0, okay, and we're going to add that package in. See the schema. Oh, sorry, my bad. 10.10.0. See. Now once this is done, this is going to take a while for it to install, so give it again some minutes, okay. Have a cup of coffee and you'll be done. Okay, welcome back. Now down here you can see that we are required to install various Firebase analytics and so forth. So we do need to take a note on the packages that we need to do so. Okay, so let's go back to the original one. Now down here you can choose and select the Firebase analytics, okay, and then you can also add without the add ID. That's a bit off for me, the way I see it. I would click Firebase Swift, app check, distribution, and now if you want to use users, sorry, if you want to use users, now users login requires the Firebase auth, then you also need the crash analytics, you also need the database as well as the Swift. Okay, again, if let's say you're using Swift and SwiftUI and a combination, you also can choose the various like app messaging. They can also do installations. Now ML model down is for machine learning, performance wise, storage, oh that's something we need, and remote config, which is the same thing. Okay, now once you do that, then you click add package, it's going to add it in. So you can see a lot of packages dependencies that have been added in. Okay, then that's pretty much about that. Now once it's done, you click next. Now you need to create the initialization code. Now for SwiftUI, this one has to be placed in the content view, so all you have to do is just copy the whole thing and then go back here, go to content view. Now make sure you clear all these all the way up and say bye bye. Now this is the part where we're going to have errors because we are not using the environmental. It has to be erased, my bad on this one. So what we need to do is, first off, we need to copy and paste that information, and then we need to remove all these stuff that are not supposed to be there. Oopsie, my bad. And then we leave the struct content view, and then we add in the import details, and then there we go. Import SwiftUI is duplicated, so we need to remove that. And once that is done, we should have a no problem. Okay, now next part is you need this. Now this is var body some scene, so it's a slightly different scenario case where you can do that. So what we need to do is we need to struct view, and then we need to add a preview for the content view. So the next part would be we need to create a navigation view, or maybe say a view. Oh no, I'm having a hiccup here. Yeah, it's correct. What? Oh, var body some view. My bad. Why not I create a Firebase? Oh god. Now, sorry, my bad. Okay. Hey, welcome back. Okay, now here the next part is we need to fix this one by default. Create a SwiftUI view. We're gonna call it Firebase. And once this is done, copy and paste the whole thing in. And there you go. This is the Firebase core. Now for body some scene, that's for the content view. So you need to create that one, and then you need to clear this. And you also need to clear the details down here to make sure it's all clean. Make sure to add in the 2 parentheses, which should be fine right now. The errors should all go away. We should have another one, sorry, my bad. Okay, now you need to double check on this one. You cannot find the content view in the scope. Firebase, let's double check on this one. We got 2 errors gone, 3 errors gone, 4 errors gone, and it should be fine. See? There is a persistence, so we need to go back and check the persistence. Test Cocoa Pods, where we have an error for this one, error in input. Okay, product, let's clean the bill. Now it should be fine. The error should go away, and it's fine now. Okay, great. Now we have a var body view scene, some scene that we can see with the window group. Now you need to register your app delegate down here. So once this is done, you click next. Now you're all set. Now go back to the console. You need to implement various things one by one using this. Okay, you can also see some Firebase apps in order to do so. Okay, so pretty much about that. Once you're back to the control source, once you go into authenticate, you can see that the introduction is gone, pretty much gone, and we can start doing the get started authentication for the users. So you can see we can off by signing in, allowing them to sign in via by email, Google, Apple, GitHub, Twitter, and so forth. We can also use Facebook. You have to add in your ID, enable an app ID for Facebook. Okay, or you can add in various other signing methods and so forth using this. Okay, you can also use the usage wise, which you can check it up as well. You can see, okay, and you can do the settings as well down here. Okay, now authorized domains is something that you might need to take note of. If let's say they are from a different domain, you want to block them off. Also SMS region policy, start with the deny to restrict SMS usage in selected regions, but if I were you, I would choose allow. Okay, then save, and it should be fine. Now if you want to control the maximum sign-outs per hour, it can be 100, it can also go up to 1,000. That's fine. So this way you are able to have more people signing up for your projects, and you can see it created in a day from a single IP address, which is a lot. That's fine. Okay, now you also have blocking functions and so forth, but all these requires you to pay money in order to do so. Okay, something that you might want to say use in the future purposes. Okay, so that's pretty much about it for today. So do remember that's a very easy way to install Firebase. Next tutorial I'll show you how to use a Firebase to authenticate users for your app itself using SwiftUI. So I'm looking forward to your next more like next view. So do click the like button, and I look forward. See you guys next week.